Okay, this is Rob Ellis, Pink Development and Construction and Horizontal Land Partners. This is for Florida, Miami, Florida. And one of the things we did yesterday was we studied and we saw that there are 20 times the builders that buy under 350K or build. And so today's goal is to find a submarket with favorable land economics anywhere in Florida. The sites I'm getting in Ohio have been on the market for 2 years. And there's always recent announcements. You can always do enough research to find out about why a submarket would be a great candidate. And if it's not, you just don't push it. So doing research never hurts. So on today's, we're gonna go on Redfin. We're looking for land for sale over 10 acres in Florida. Um, we're gonna go to Redfin because it has a little bit of a zoning. Okay, so what we do is lot size, 10 acres. And look at all the different places you can buy 10 acres and all the different prices. Look, 72 grand you can get it for right here in the middle of the Everglades if you want. Look at that, how nice. Now, we're looking at a max price. We've been looking at larger deals. We're actually going to push this to 20 acres because I think that's about the right number. So everyone thinks that it's impossible to do land deals, but I can tell you Florida is, let's see how much bigger it is than where I'm from. How much bigger is Florida than Ohio? Double the population. How many times more net migrations? It's probably like 30 times the migrations, 15 times the builders, 2 times the land. Much easier to do business down here. So we're focused on anywhere really south of Ocala. This entire anywhere in here. Look, there is, you can buy it from $1 million down in Homestead, 8 million bucks, right? This is Miami for you, very expensive. To probably like 50 grand, right? So if there's so much land, then one of them has to be a deal that makes sense. What people don't realize is that land is a buyer's market. Um, Raw land has no value. Land is worth what you perceive or what's approved. The difference is entitlements. And so we're going to go, the more land we get, the more money we make. So I think it's actually possible to go, we're going to go crazy and say, can I get 40 acres in a place that I got 27 acres for 550 in Ohio? I think I can get 40 for 550. Let's try it. 40 acres, done. And we're going to put the price at, we're going to go to the low price of 20,000 an acre. Look how much land there is. Amazing. And when we're looking at stuff, we're looking for things near population centers. We're going to drop this down to 500. And these are definitely areas that I would be willing to go. Here's an example. Now this 40-acre tract, 5 parcels, water, well, Orange Grove, right? We look at the zoning. We don't want agricultural. The good thing about Redfin is it has the zoning information. You can see this has been on for a year. We love seeing that. APN, so I can pull it, and that says Polk County. Utility information, none of these are going to have actual utilities. It's a very fragmented, but a lot of the times we're just looking at high level market. We're looking for one deal. I would say this is a little exaggerated on the pricing. Like obviously you can't do that. Typically you want to be in the areas that are more like this, right? And Sumter County is a great county up near here near the villages. And that's exactly what we're looking for. So like this is a great, let's check this one out. And it says 5 acres. So a lot of the times, so we might go to land.com. And I'm just pushing it a little bit because Florida's larger and we're willing to look at more markets. We are market agnostic. It doesn't matter. Okay, there you go. And we can say max of 500. We'll go 600,000. So you can see even up into here, but we look at some of these pockets like this. That's a mobile home. And a lot of the times these are like errors. This is an overbuilt market. There are some markets we wouldn't enter. We looked at that one. Now looking at what's been developed around here, it looks like self-sustained utilities and mobile home development. Typically, we look at the blend pattern you see over here, this housing development. We typically are looking for non-landlocked. Normally, counties will not let you. You see how there's utilities here? And so normally, depending on if this is restricted, that's the one thing about Florida that you really have to look at. but there is plenty of development around here. And this says it's within the city limits and it is R1B. And this is Lake Wales. Lake Wales R1B zoning. We have to look at lot sizes. $9,000 square feet. But this land, you have to look at the yield. So if it's 9,000 square feet, that's a little bit larger. Our typical lot sizes are 6 or 7,000. That's not too bad. We want to look at let's pull this one up. This is also Polk County, which is where we're targeting. And 15,000 an acre, that's cheap. And because it's so much acreage, that's what I'm saying, that you see the development pattern here, you kind of see what's been built around here. Undeveloped residential. We're looking for the parcel number. And it says they've balance of property is heavily wooded, land appears level. Most of the time, these guys don't know anything about the listings they put up. It's been on the market for 4 years. So we like to start with the ugly guys. And let's see here. If it's in a floodplain, that's easy. It says 30 acres. So I think when it says that, that's why they're saying it's only 10 acres of. And people like this would be pretty creative to work with us. So sometimes we have to look at Google Earth and we have to go to R1B. We have to go to the Lake Wales, Florida. Here it is. Boom. It's this entire plot. And you see how there's developments on all sides, right? So we're going to show you how to look at a site and decide if it's worth it. So we're north of these three lakes up in here. Lake Wales. We love starting with the tough boys. This listing agent, I think it's probably not sold because they didn't even put the parcel number on it. Lake Hamilton. This is so crazy that I have to do this. Mountain Lodge Lake. Here we go. Now look at this. Look at their access. You see how they came in and then developed the whole thing, right? And that's what we got. Now, if you pay people what they're asking, if you just get a low land basis, 40 acres for 600K, I can get a lot of housing on that. I can build a lot of houses. And this is in the city. We have to check the buy right. We're not here to change anything. That's what we're looking for. Buy right. Um, we're doing write-ups. This is land selection. And this is the first one we looked at. It's just one that we picked. But if you're not doing this every day, and we're going to turn this into a letter of intent all the way to the finish line. Look, if that doesn't convince you, three developments on every side, residential, residential, I don't know what you're doing. Maybe there's no access. I doubt it. There's that normally you have to cut them in. You saw that same thing where you have to be able to access right here, come in, and then it opens up. Could this be the last one left? Am I the first guy to look at this? Probably not. You see how it says low for zoning, future use? We have to look at the overlays. Lake Wales. We look at Lake Wales GIS. This is what we were looking at here, right? This is right in the municipality. On both sides is R3, and this is R1B. Now, if I want to change that, I can, but if I want to develop it to development standards, I can too. So we take this, which they did have a little bit of info, and you see, look over here. Look at all these neighborhoods that someone developed, right? Um, a lot of the times we also one call to the, but I've gotten pretty good at doing site selection. I'm not that silly. We're going to take all this information like this. And the cool thing about ChatGPT now is, can you do a write up on this? What does the low acres mean? You can automatically do it and say, what do you think? There you go. And typically, and developments on both sides look good. Are there any public hearings or flood maps that show these were taken out of the floodplain? See, there you go. Related to neighboring developments, floodplain management office regarding records of any LMRs or conditional or public hearings. So the first thing that we have is um, bringing 30 acres out and out of the floodplain at 4 an acre means we add 100 houses, which means we increase the land value by substantial amounts. And I think that is some of the idea of what we're doing here. And sometimes sometimes the that's something that we look at, right? When we talk to the sellers, we might even get it even low. But do I think the goal here is uh we looked at neighboring, which is typically what the groups that do this do. I've pulled in land out of floodplains before, and we could look it up by myself. Um, it would be one of the due diligences that we do. And they gave us Polk County's answer. So that is a large tract of that's one example of a piece of land that we like. Okay, so that's an initial look, saying, okay, I understand there's developments on both sides. It's a floodplain lot. I know what that entails. I know how to do it. And it definitely is not cheap, but for 5K, you can do it. So that's one that we sit on, right? Okay. And we put it in a folder. Let's see what else we got. Sometimes we can talk directly to them. There's probably city utilities right there, which is exactly why we look at this stuff. Um, let's keep looking here. I like that's a condo. It's a house. That's a mobile home. It's a mobile home. We're gonna look up north here a little bit more. That's a mobile home. You see, you don't see like utilities and stuff. So we typically would look for them to be located within anytime you can find a by right development. Now that's the only thing I forgot. It says, and for this footprint, if I can bring it all up, what would be the amount of uh, net buildable lots with a 20% loss and average lot size minimum of the by right overlay, which is, let's check here. 1 R1B. The pretty big subdivision, 174 units. That's the deal we just did. What are the development standards in R1B in this area. Look them up. Low density. So here we are, first day, first site, feasibility report. Max out at 185. There you go. So if we wanted to develop the by rights and look at, so we have the feasibility report here. We break this out. Can we plat a subdivision with it requiring soils brought in? Like plat the part in the wetlands? I think so. So we would bring it up, plat entire 39, include filled and compacted former low acres, wetlands, higher environmental to delineate wetlands. A civil engineer will overlay topographic contours, how much fill, FEMA, if the land is in FEMA, submit this, compaction test, certified elevations, positive drainage. We've done this one for anything 1 acre, you'll need ERP, environmental resource. You can provide offsite or on-site mitigation credits. Oh, that's exactly right. Look at that. That's what the other guys did. Design a central stormwater pond in the lowest pocket and wrap your fill pads around it. That's exactly what they did next door. Comfortable with lots built on structural fill, pad ready, lot ready. Okay. So how much time does it add? So if we do this, I don't know if we'll put the lot yield in yet. I think I did the lot yield, yeah. Okay. You see this R1B. So that's exactly what we're trying to do. So looking at this, I mean, that's already good enough for me. Having one site to work on. It's just we're looking to get to the basics of it, make some calls, and that's what they did here. Mm, you could go up a little more. They probably did rezonings, but let's see what homes are for sale in this area, Lake Wales. And you see how they did these townhomes, but we could still do detached. And they're about 300K. So we would do ranch slab on grade. These are way too big. This is exactly what we would build. We want to look at transfers. Okay. So let's see here. 9032 0. Let's see if that does anything. And we'll say what type vacant. Search. Nope. Oh wow, Polk County. We'll see if NVR is out here. We work with NVR where we're at. Oh, that's a great idea. Ryan Holmes, put in the name. I didn't even think about that. That's stupid. Except they own them in NVR Inc. And I'm just going to paste these in here. I'm going to say, I'm going to paste in blocks of 25 addresses. And can you tell me the closest to Lake Wales? We'll see where they're at. That's slow. I don't think it's going to change much. Sometimes there's a map search. I wonder. See, these are similar areas, I would say. Land and Lane. So we can see what they paid for this lot. $63 grand. Almost identical. So that shows that the economics are the same. We talk to them. We say, hey, if we could raise these up, what do you think? We can write a letter of intent. And that's that. So what we do is if we want to submit a letter of intent, what I say is probably offer, and this one, yeah, we'll feed it two things. So I'll say, we already have letters of intent that we wrote. So, we did an hour here of research. Might as well make an offer. It doesn't matter if you don't get it. So I'd say I have two documents, a template letter of intent that is signed by a seller, and also one I want to do in Florida. It has all the terms. The letter of intent is to show the terms, and it's a option contract, not an offer. This is in a flood plain, and we have some due diligence. So we'd like 90 days inspection prior to putting up a hard deposit. It's to explore the feasibility, but it's substantial research. And so we want site control. I have two attachments. One is our real option, which is what I think we offer here. Real option contract, not LOI. But we need 15 months, and each of the 15 months after the initial 90 days, we will put up 500 non-fundable option. Alrighty. This listing agent doesn't know what they're doing. This is Maria. I can say, where was I typing? Here is the listing. And need to find email. This is for residential by right development, but zoning clearance will be later in time. I think we should option at 500K. We have done flood before. You should put the development standards in. Here are two attachments. One is an example option offer, and the other is the info on the lot. Please draft it and fill all info. Similar terms. Our plan is to develop into 150 to 175 lots and houses. Total house unit value is 300K. Show land value in the option if seller wants to. That's a $45 million development. That means that the land would be purchased at around 150. It's probably going to be 160 lots times 60,000. 9.6 million. would be the value. So we'll do an overview, but for now, we're just doing the offer. Okay. So what we do is we upload our Polk County Lake Wales info. And we also upload an example of our here we go. Let's see. Here we go. So we drafted this one and sent it to her. A different one, and this will be a service. It's never perfect, but you got to put this out there. You got to put it out there. Okay, so this is a Lake Wales. It's important that you make LOIs and you look at sites, and sometimes you have to do enough due diligence. This is, from what I can see, enough. I can definitely get a roadway in here. We can definitely bring it up. Okay, so this is our final. Let's see if there's anything in here I need to look at. We'll go to Polk County one more time. This is exactly where we wanted to be. We found a deal. It's a floodplain deal, but if they take this, we have tons of time. We can raise it up. I know this stuff by heart. Tons of upside. Everybody wants to be in Florida. We got the builders down here. I can make 5 phone calls and decide if these people are going to move on or not, you know. We just bring up a deal where we have it tied up. Once it's executed, you have to have LOIs out there. And it's meant to be VTech. You have to establish broker relationships, represented exclusively by broker. The buyer. 15 months because there's so much going on, and that's a long time to work on this, but we have to put land in the pipeline in us, and sometimes we have to move quick on land and kind of follow our gut. Um, put the whole thing in chat with exhibits so I can see it. So this is our initial option with a 90-day. We are There you go. Okay. So we put this in. Let's make sure there's. Okay. We got it. And this is. And the actual address is 0. And we'll double check the parcel 031020. We'll do the title search. I don't know if we really need to do a title search, but most title companies will do it. I mean, you just see though that there's so much opportunity in between these two. And this development was identical with that center thing that we were talking about. So, we can look more into it, but this is our first one. So we take this, we download it. We go to Dotloop and we will submit this to her. But that's how you do a first one. So in what, maybe an hour, hour and a half, we looked, found one, made an offer, and that's it. If you are happy with the results, that's exactly what we're looking for. Thanks for watching.